questions. To our left, you may begin.
Hi, Caitlin. Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. We talked in Seattle. You said you felt the calmest you've ever had in your whole life before Louisville. Did you replicate that last night? And how do you do that again tomorrow?
Yeah, I honestly did. I felt very confident in our group and the game plan our coaches put together, and I thought we came out and executed right away. And I think the start of the game was really, really important for us. We showed, we're here to win, we're here to play. We believe we can do it. And Kate Martin starts the game out with 5 consecutive rebounds, and I think that really set the tone there. So, I think I had that calmness about myself last night. I had a belief in my teammates, and I thought we, played really good basketball, and I have to do the same thing on Sunday. I understand there's only 40 more minutes left in my season, which, it's kind of sad because it's been so much fun, but why not go cut down another net?
We're staying to our left, Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin, Lindsay with USA Today. There's a lot of little kids in this arena and watching on TV who are falling in love with basketball because of how you play the game, the joy you play with. And I wondered, when you were a little kid, who was that for you? Mm-hmm. Who did you watch that made you love the game of basketball?
Yeah, I grew up loving basketball, so I watched a ton of players. The Minnesota Lynx team was like my favorite team, Maya Moore, Coach Whalen. So it's really cool now because I got to play against Coach Whalen and very complimentary of my game. But to be honest, I just loved watching basketball. I had a cousin that played at Dowling Catholic where, I went to school and she went on to play at Creighton, so I was her biggest fan too. And, to be honest, I wanted to be around the game as much as I could. I remember my dad took me when Des Moines hosted, a regional site, and I think it was Baylor versus Tennessee. I think it was the last game Pat Summitt ever coached. And Brittany Griner was playing at the time, which was super cool. So to be able to say I got to see the last game Pat Summitt ever coached is like so cool in my home state, in my home city. So I just wanted to be around the game as much as I could. Obviously, I had, college basketball on, pro basketball on, and whenever we were on spring break, we always made sure we were around the TV to watch it, and then I would instantly print off my bracket and make a bracket. So honestly, I just love this game so much. I have ever since I was a young kid, but my favorite player is definitely Maya Moore. She was always my favorite player, and I think I was drawn to her, one, for her scoring ability, but also, she's a tremendous person, and then also she played for the Minnesota Lynx, which is the closest team to Des Moines from where I was from.
We're going to stay on the left-hand side of that back row.
Christy Winter-Scott, Big Ten Network. Caitlin, where do you go mentally to compartmentalize, to stay composed and poised in these big moments?
Yeah, I think the thing for me is, I understand things aren't going to go my way. And I think accepting that, and that's not something I've always had throughout my college career, is, when I haven't gotten fouls called, when I've had turnovers, when I've had missed shots, it's kind of thrown me off my game in a little bit. Excuse me. And I think the physicality is something I've just come to accept at this point in my career. People are holding me. I have scratches. I have bruises, but so does everybody else. You can't complain. At this point in the season, refs aren't going to call it, nor could they every single time down the court. So I think it's just come, with my mental toughness and working on that and just accepting, things aren't going to go your way. That's the game of basketball. So all you got to do is respond, and that's what's going to be best for your team.
We're staying in that back row.
Andrea Adelson with ESPN.com. Some of the LSU players are scouting the game, obviously, from last night, and thought it was, quote, this is their words, disrespectful, the way that you guys played their guards, and they're not going to be able to guard us in the same way because of the way they shoot the ball. So I'm wondering if you have any reaction to the use of the word disrespectful in the way that you guys had guarded South Carolina on the perimeter, and what might have to change against LSU considering they're a better shooting team.
Yeah, I think LSU can shoot the ball a lot better, and I don't think we're not gonna guard LSU the same way we guarded South Carolina. Obviously, with South Carolina, you got to pick your poison. They play 2 tremendous posts, and if they were gonna beat us, we're gonna let it be by the 3-point line. You just got to pick and choose your battles. We couldn't guard everything. That's the game of basketball. You have a scout, player personnel. It's what are you gonna give up, and that's what we were gonna give up. We had all the respect in the world for South Carolina, and especially their post play. We're a smaller team. We had to go down there and double them, and they still doubled us on offense, on rebounding, and but we never got discouraged. And I think that speaks to this team. Is I know Mon had a few just go right over her head. She tried her best to box out. I'm like, Mon, it's okay. You got to keep your head up. Like, we got this. And I think it's just confidence and resiliency, but. You just got to pick and choose within a scout. And Coach Bluter is a very good coach about player personnel. We're going to have a different game plan for every single team.
Doug?
Hey, Caitlin, Doug Vonberg, AP. we've talked a lot in the last week about growth of the game and how many eyeballs are watching this and such. I think your tickets tomorrow are going for more than Taylor Swift down the road.
Hey, I'm going to Taylor Swift in June too, so that's pretty awesome.
Maybe we should bring you on stage.
Hey, maybe so. That'd be cool. I don't know. Hopefully she likes women's basketball. She should stay for the game tomorrow. How about that?
Agreed. Just with what you guys did last night, and the other game was also a really good game, and all that's come with the attention on this game. How would you like to sort of put a final bow on this for the season to maybe help this game grow even more tomorrow with what you do and what this game could bring with a ABC audience and everything that comes with it?
Yeah, I think winning a national championship is how you put a final bow on it. I think that's the best way, but we're going to give everything we have for 40 more minutes. We know that's all we have left of our season. That's all we have left with McKenna and Monica, who have given their heart and soul to this program. And, Amon came back for a 5th year to be in a position like this. And more than anything, they're my best friends, and I'm going to be so sad that I don't get to go back to practice with them. Even though my body hurts, I would give it an arm and a leg for those girls. And, I think it's just a belief we have one another. We might not be the most athletic. We might not be a team full of 5-star athletes, but we have a love for one another that's, always going to be there through the good and the bad. And, we have had plenty of hard moments this season, but that's what makes you great in these moments. So I think, the way to put a bow on this is a national championship, but also exemplifying what women's basketball can be and how fun it is and the joy and the passion that we play with, us and LSU, because I think they do a tremendous job as well, and they bring a lot of excitement and fun to the game. So I think it's just a great matchup for women's basketball in general.
Hi, Caitlin. Howard Mandel at the Nets. Good to see you. Kind of 2 parts to this, jumping off of what Doug asked a little bit. One is, we've covered you obviously in the women's game for a long time, but this has been sort of an order of magnitude more fame, obviously, as this run has happened. And I'm wondering whether there's a moment or moments that's kind of hit home for you that, like, wow, this has really gotten huge. And I just have a follow-up.
Honestly, I don't really think it's hit me yet. I don't think it'll hit me for a couple more weeks. I'm just trying to enjoy every single second of this. But I will say, what I really loved is I saw so many videos of people back in Iowa City, just every single bar just completely packed, screaming about women's basketball. And, that's so cool to see your impact on your university and your state. People love this game. They love this team. And I truly don't think we would be here if it wasn't for our fans, the way they've traveled, at home, at the Big Ten tournament out in Seattle, but now here. I think people understand, these fans know what women's basketball is. They're not just here to scream because we're here. They're here because they understand the game and how great we play it. That's why they're here, because they can appreciate it. So I think that's the biggest thing and what I've appreciated most about this journey. But it's going to take me a few weeks to, reflect back on everything that's happened. But more than anything, I'm grateful, and, I want to end it with a championship.
And that's just the other part of it. We were talking to Lisa about, being an Iowa product and doing this. And how meaningful is it to be doing this as an Iowa product with an Iowa head coach, and have you thought about just what it's going to be like to head home after this?
Yeah, that's the reason I came here, is to be in this moment right now, because I believed in Coach Bluter. I believed in what she could do. I think the thing that's lost is I get coached hard every single day. Coach Bluter doesn't think I've arrived. I don't think I've arrived. And I want to be coached because I think I can, get that much better. But to be able to do this for a university and a state that, has given so much to you and supported you so much, it means the world. And I know when we get back to Iowa City, hopefully we have cut down another championship net, and I'm sure it'll be wild. But I'm just going to enjoy every single second, because you may never get back to this point, and it's really rare and really hard to be here.
To our right-hand side.
David Eichholt, 24/7 Sports. Caitlin, just for you, how do you kind of balance embracing what you guys accomplished last night, but knowing there's still a bigger task at hand? Was it enjoy it in the locker room, then right when you leave the locker room, reset, or how'd you guys kind of handle that? Yeah,
I think it helped that we didn't get back home to the hotel until like 12:30, so our only option was to go to sleep. So we weren't up just thinking about what we had done and things like that. But I think, like Coach Bluter said, is like, enjoy this. Like, what you did is special, but at the same time, like, why not win one more? That's what we're here to do, is win another basketball game. And I have all the confidence in this group that we can do that. I mean, it's the national championship. That's not hard to wake up for. It's not hard to give your heart and soul for. And that's exactly what this group's going to do. And that's what we've done all year is, we played 3 back-to-back-to-back games against really great teams in the Big Ten tournament. This is our 3rd weekend of basketball in the NCAA tournament. We're ready for this. We've been through challenges. We're prepared.
We're staying to our right-hand side on the front row.
Susan Harmon, hawkfanatic.com. What would you tell a 5-star recruit who maybe wasn't from Iowa? What would you advise as far as considering Iowa? What are the benefits that recruit might find at Iowa?
I mean, I could make you a really, really, really long list. I think the biggest thing is, when you are thinking about a school, I think for me is I didn't want to go somewhere that only just cared about me playing basketball. I was going to go to a school that cared about me as a person. And I think that's lost in today's world. And Coach Bluter, we could have lost in the first round of this tournament, and she was going to love me the exact same way and be there for me for the rest of my life. And to me, that means way more than ever cutting down a championship net or hoisting a trophy, and I truly mean that. And this just comes along with the love we have for one another as being in positions like this. And if you want to play in front of sold-out crowds, if you want to play for a fan base that understands what's happening in women's basketball, you come to the University of Iowa. But I also will say it's not just the University of Iowa. It's Iowa State. It's Drake. It's UNI. Our whole state understands what the game is and what it can be. And I think that speaks to the talent level at the high school level and at the AAU level. I played for All Iowa Tech, and a lot of my teammates are now playing for teams in our home state and thriving on those levels. But I think Coach Bluter's resume speaks for herself. She's a tremendous coach, a tremendous person, and every single person in our locker room is valued. At the end of the day, I think that's way more important than ever cutting down a net.
We're going to stay to our right-hand side, the second row. Emma, go ahead.
Caitlin, if you go back to December 1st when you guys lost to NC State, you're 5-3 at that point. Obviously, tough competition. But I think you said after that game, you scored 45, but you only had 10 assists as a team. You guys weren't playing Iowa basketball. Can you talk about both how you and the team have improved from that game? Because the trajectory has just been upward since then.
Yeah. First of all, I think giving our coaches credit for the schedule they created this year. I mean, we played some really tough games at the beginning of the season. NC State, UConn, Oregon State's not an easy team to play. We traveled to Kansas State, lose there. I mean, just a long list of really tremendous teams. And, that's all you can ask is to be put in those situations. And those are the games you want to play in. But like you said, that wasn't Iowa basketball. You can't have 10 assists. That's not going to cut it. And, I think obviously Gabby Marshall was kind of struggling with her shot at that point in the season, but we had all the belief in the world with her, and knew she was going to get going. And I think we just got back to the way we play is, everybody contributing, everybody, working hard on defense. That was not a good game for us. 45 points, but a loss is never too great. And I think we all understood our potential of what we could be. It was just we all had to give more. We had to get back to what we were really good at, and that's sharing the basketball. High assists on high made field goals, and I think that's what you've seen all throughout this tournament.
We're going to stay on our right-hand side, the back row.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV in Baton Rouge. Clearly, I cover LSU, but my timeline last night was a lot about you and obviously your performance. A lot of comparisons to Pete Maravich, and
Pistol
with the
Pete.
ball handling and the shooting, and the shot making. I guess just are you familiar with his game, and what does that kind of compliment mean to you, in today's age?
Yeah, I am familiar with his game. I've seen a lot of his highlights. Obviously, a tremendous compliment. I saw somebody call me like Ponytail Pete or something like that, so I thought that was kind of funny. But I think just a tremendous compliment. And like you said, I like to, I take a lot of pride in being able to do a lot of different things for my team, whether it's scoring, but also, I think the passing can get overlooked at times. Monica has really tremendous hands and makes me look really, really good. But also, you have to pick your poison with this team. Leaving McKenna, leaving Gabby is a mistake. And then obviously Kate Martin, she always just comes through when you need it. And I think, it's a tremendous compliment. I'm very familiar with Pistol Pete. And a lot of people have been saying that since, I was even in high school. So kind of cool compliment.
We're going to move to our left.
Hey, Caitlin, Lindsay with USA Today again. First of all, because you said you printed off a bracket, how's your men's bracket doing? Did you correctly predict any of the Final Four teams?
I actually didn't do a men's bracket this year. Yeah, but I had the Iowa men in my heart all the way, but it's okay. They had a great season. But yeah, I'm sure my bracket would have been a disaster on the men's side anyway. So, but it's been fun to watch the men's tournament as well. I have basketball on whenever.
The other thing I was going to ask is you said a second ago that you don't think you've arrived. Coach Bluter doesn't think you've arrived. If you win tomorrow, have you arrived?
No, I'm lucky enough that, I'm only 21 years old. I feel like I have so much left in the tank to give to this game. I think I can get so much better. I did have 8 turnovers last night. That wasn't too great. So I just think there's so many more ways that I can improve. And I truly believe that, I understand I have quite a bit of skill, but there's always so many areas to refine and get better. And, stats never lie. They never do. Film never lies. And I watch a lot of it. We, analyze a lot of stats, especially after the season, and areas you can get better on. Apparently, I guess in today's world, they have a stat about literally every single thing you could ever imagine. What's it like shooting off a screen, a down screen, a cross screen, a flare screen? I mean, so many different stats, which I think is really cool. And Coach Bluter's a huge stat person. So, no, I don't think I will arrive when we win the national championship tomorrow. I have, another year in college and then hopefully, a long professional career as well.
We're going to stay to our left in the back.
Caitlin, Charlie Cream, ESPN.com. This is actually a pretty good segue. You just talked about stats and breaking down film. So what I'd like to know is, what's this Caitlin Clark scouting report on Caitlin Clark?
Well, you just watched Debbie Antonelli's videos that she's been putting on Twitter, because I gave an entire scouting report, and I still do it in the game. But, I'll tell you, but if you just watch my games, not much ever changes. I like to step back going to the left. I think the thing that makes it really hard is we run a read and react offense. You never know what's going to happen. You can't scout that. Like, you can try all you want. You can work on actions, but you never know what we're going to do, because we don't even know what we're going to do. And I think that's the best way to play basketball, is you're just making reads. You're using your brain. And Coach Bluter says, just be a basketball player. Don't be a robot. Be a basketball player. And that's why people like watching Iowa women's basketball, is because we make reads, we have fun, we play up tempo, we want to get out in transition. But I think for me, the area I want to thrive in is always transition. That's why I take pride in getting on the defensive glass and pushing the ball, because I just think it's so hard to guard us, especially with the way our 4s and 5s run the floor, and and Kate and Gabby can spot up for threes. I think it's really, really hard for us. So yeah, I think everybody knows what I'm going to do at this point. It's just, I don't know. That's what I always tell myself, is just be you. That's all you can do.
We're staying to our left, a row ahead.
Caitlin Chantel Jennings with The Athletic. You're obviously the leader of this team, but Coach Jensen was talking last night about how you're also the emotional barometer of this team, and that when you hit those big shots, obviously that can be a huge burst of momentum for your team. But also on the flip side of that, when you get frustrated with calls, or if something's not going well, that sometimes that can seep into the team too. I'm curious, over the last 3 years, how you've sort of evolved in that way and matured in that way to maybe not let that flow into the team as much.
I think that's where my biggest growth has been, honestly, over the past year, is just understanding things aren't going to go my way. Sure, do I get fiery and competitive and still talk to the refs? Absolutely. I'm never going to just completely stop doing that, because I don't think I would be the player I am if I did. But I have teammates that come up to me and calm me down and things like that. But I think my teammates understand, I am fiery, I am competitive, and I think that's what they feed off of, honestly. I think they do, whether good or bad. And I think they've, just had my back through it all. And I'm lucky enough to have teammates like that understand the competitor I am. And I think it rubs off on them, and that's what makes us who we are.
We're staying to our left.
Hey, Caitlin, it's Doug again. Two-part question. Coach said one of the stats she cares most about is high fives and leading the league in them. Where do you rank in the Iowa high five list?
I got to be up there. I got to be up there in the chest bumps too. Yeah, I got to be up there. I don't know. We always talk about that. We always want to, high five, but also just smile. Be happy to be here. We're happy to be here. We love this game. We love one another. And I think if you watch our bench, the girls that never get in the game, they're the most excited people in the world. And I think that speaks to the culture Coach Bluter has built. They know that they're a part of this. They know that they have a role. They know that we wouldn't be here without them, and I truly mean that, because those girls put in a lot of hard work and they never get to see the floor, and that's such a hard position to be in. It's hard coming from being your star at a high school, and then you come here and you don't even get in the game. So I think it speaks to the culture that Coach Bluter's built, and we always talk about just loving your person to the left and the right of you, and that's going to get this team really far.
And the second part is just, I know in Seattle, you look at the stat sheet after the triple double, it goes 9 turnovers, look. And then the 8 turnovers yesterday. Do you know what you're doing during the game? I mean, you're the first player ever to have back-to-back 40-point games in the NCAA tournament, triple double, the first one out of the 40. And do you have any clue when you're playing, like, this is where your numbers are during games?
Yeah, I think somewhat. I think at times a lot of the turnovers that I have are self-inflicted, which is frustrating for me. But at the same time, you as a good player, you can always feel when you're in the zone a little more. And that's what I've, kind of felt throughout this tournament. And that's what I want to carry into tomorrow is, just stay right there, stay in the zone, be confident in yourself, be confident in your teammates. And, I know they have all the confidence in the world in me. When I miss a few shots, they come up to me, they're like, that looks good. Like, keep shooting it. Like, that's a great shot. And, that's even what Coach Bluter says. When people miss a really great shot, they're not going to be mad. They're going to be happy you shot that. That shows that you believe in yourself. And we always want people to shoot really great shots.
We're staying to our left.
Sue Marriott, Big Ten Network. There's a phrase, with great success comes great responsibility. I think you've seen that very much so. So you and your teammates, there's so much attention and so many pesky media requests from people like us, which thank you for taking them. But are you able to get that downtime, the quiet time, the recharge time, and in those quiet moments, what are those conversations with you and your teammates? What are you saying to each other?
Yeah, I think those are really important times. But also, like all of this and all the media, like I really appreciate you all being here, because this is how our game grows. To all the local media that's traveled from the state of Iowa, I really appreciate that as well. And the way you've covered us is certainly incredible and means a lot to this team and our program. So thank you. But also, I think it is very important to take time to yourself and reflect and focus and get off your phone, I think is the biggest thing. And that's something we've really talked about, throughout this whole postseason. So, quiet time is really good, but also I understand I got all the time in the world to sleep after tomorrow. So, I'm going to give it everything I got, and then I can sleep for 2 weeks.
We're going to stay to our left in the back row.
Clara Sandoval from the Laredo Morning Times. Just talk about playing in the Big Ten and how that's prepared you for this tournament and today.
I got to give all the credit in the world to the Big Ten. I truly believe we could have had 3 to 4 teams in the Final Four, and I really believe that. I feel for Indiana. They had a tremendous year, and then have an early exit, and that was us last year. It really stinks. I thought Coach Moore coached those girls incredible all year long. Mackenzie Holmes had one of the best seasons, I've ever seen. So, I thought Indiana was amazing, but also, Ohio State, Maryland, Illinois beat us. Just so many great teams. Purdue gave us a great game to start the Big Ten tournament. I believe it's the best conference in America. I think, we've had the work to show for that. And it's prepared us for this moment. Honestly, it truly has. We've been put in a lot of end-of-game situations, when you're down 2, you're up 2, where you really have to execute and things like that. And you saw that on full display last night, and I think you're going to see that on full display tomorrow, too.
John Steppe, Cedar Rapids Gazette. What was that moment like in the circle yesterday when you got to hold on to Dr. Grant's sweater?
Oh, yeah, that was tremendous. Dr. Grant, I think it's really incredible that we're doing this in the year that's 50-year anniversary of Title IX. 50 years might seem like a long time to a lot of people, but it's really not. It's not that long. And to be able to have an opportunity to play for one of the universities that was at the forefront of women's athletics and, giving women the same opportunity as men, and to be able to play a sport in a game you love is pretty incredible. And I know I wasn't one that ever really got to know Dr. Grant too well, just because she was at the end of her life. But, Coach Bluter was, the last coach she ever hired, and very close with Coach Bluter. So that she's always passing along things that Dr. Grant taught her. And I'm very grateful for everything Dr. Grant did because I know how proud Dr. Grant is up above of us because she believed we could be in this moment. She believed Coach Bluter could lead us to this moment. So for her to, save something for Coach Bluter when she made her first Final Four, I mean, that's very thoughtful and, just an incredible moment.
We're going to shift to our right.
Yeah, Caitlin, Jeff Linder, Cedar Rapids Gazette. 2 parts. What time did you finally get to sleep last night? And when you close your eyes and visualize winning a national championship, what do you see?
Yeah, I think I went to bed like 2:45, but it's always hard to sleep after a win and competing so hard. But I got like 7 hours. I woke up at 9:45, so that's like good sleep for me. And we'll have some downtime later today. And like I said, it's really easy to wake up for a national championship. Being tired is not going to be an issue with me. Having bruises is not going to be an issue. Being sore is not going to be an issue for anybody on our team. But I think visualization is one of the things I always do before games is see yourself where you want to be. I think that's so important. It's something I always talk about with our sports psychologist is visualize greatness. See yourself, hitting game-winning shots. See yourself hoisting a trophy because why can't that be you? Because it can.
We're staying to our back and to the right.
Hey, Ben Pickman from The Athletic. Lisa talked about Jan scoring, 66 points in a season on average and 105 in a game. What do you remember, or what do you know about, that 105-point showing? And do you and Coach Jay ever talk trash?
Oh, we talk trash. Yeah. Come on now. Yeah. Coach Jay, I always give her crap and tell her to, go shoot at practice and stuff. And she did the other day, and she shot this crazy weird hook shot thing that I've never seen in my life. But, Coach Jay, one of the best, players to ever play in our state as well. She's a legend. She's way more popular than I even am. You should see this woman's phone. It's incredible. But I think the thing about Coach Jay is, people love her to death, but it's because of the person she is. And, she's given up a lot of head coaching opportunities to help this program get where it is. And even, Coach Fitz, those 3 have been together since their time at Drake. But I like to talk crap to Coach Jay because she thinks she can score better than me, but she can't.
We're going to move to the front on our left-hand side.
Caitlin Howard, Magdal, the next again. You talked about growing up a Lynx fan. I'm wondering if you could talk about that in 2 ways. If you have specific memories of either seeing them in person or, just what that experience was like. And also just the fact that there was a model franchise, that there was a team with these great players to be able to look up to in the same way that so many young players are looking up to you now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually kind of a crazy story. I've loved the Lynx. And I forget what happened, but my dad, I couldn't go to something. So he's like, all right, I'll take you to the Lynx game instead. So I was like, all right, let's go. So we're road tripping to Minneapolis, and we're in, the hotel. And I think I went swimming before, all by myself with my dad in the hotel pool. And he, called the ticket office, and he's like, I want to bring my daughter to the game. And the guy at the ticket office, no clue who he is or where he is now, but he's like, do you guys want to come, before the game and sit on the court and, see all this stuff? And my dad was like, oh, absolutely. She would love that. He got me a Rebecca Brunson shirt. And Lindsay Whalen came over. Simone Augustus came over. And clearly, I don't even know how old I was, but these are vivid memories in my mind. And they were playing the Seattle Storm. So I think it was just, I think that just shows how much I loved the game from a very young age. And I think at the same time that inspired me even more, when I got to go and experience something like that. But also, the arena was packed for the Lynx. They loved the Lynx, but because the Lynx were really, really good, they had dominance there for quite some time. And Lindsay Whalen is one of the best point guards ever to touch a basketball. So I grew up really inspired by that team. And I think, when I was able to go to a game, that only, encouraged that more. I don't. I had to be pretty young. That's probably a question for my dad because he probably remembers.
We'll take our final question to the left.
Hi, Caitlin. Jack Alito with KCRG. I remember a couple months back you said, people need to play with that fire. I play with that fire. And now here we are at the national championship game. Social media is buzzing over the quote-unquote 2 best trash talkers in the country, you and Angel Reese. I presume you view that actually as a positive thing, not a negative thing, playing with passion. Do you view it as a good thing for this game?
Absolutely. I view, matchups that people get really excited about as a really good thing for this for this game. I think that's what excites people and gets them to the TV. But when they turn the TV on, they understand it's not an individual game. It wasn't Caitlin versus Leah. We weren't even matched up against each other at all. It's not going to be Caitlin versus Angel. That's not what's going to win a national championship. But that's what gets them excited about watching the game. So I think more than anything, people are starting to understand women can play with, excitement and a passion and a fire about themselves. And, that's what's fun. That's what people want to see. But you leave it on the court. When you step off the court, you're friends, you support one another, you love the game, you love getting to watch them. I've loved watching LSU this year. They've been tremendous, and what Kim Mulkey's been able to build there in her short time is, nothing short of remarkable. So I have all the respect in the world for them, and I think it's going to be a tremendous game.
Thank you, Caitlin. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.